Welcome back, 3D students. In this video, we're going to create the control objects to control our simple rig. So let's get started. Switch to the top view by pushing T on your keyboard. And then we're going to go to the Create tab, and let's select Shapes. We're going to use a circle. Get in the center pretty much and make a largish circle about like that. And then go to the Create tab and check Enable in Viewport Only. And we don't need a lot of geometry here, so let's just give it 3 sides. And then we can maybe change the thickness a little bit, maybe to about 3. And let's change the default color here to maybe a nice, I don't know, purple or something. And let's switch back to the perspective view to take a look at what we have here. And let's go to the Modify tab. And the object of control objects, or control curves as they're called sometimes, is to make it easy for the animator to select the bones or joints and rotate or move them. They should be visible, they should be organized, they should be color-coded, and they should be named properly. And sometimes different shapes are used for different parts of the body so that you don't have to worry about which circle is which. So we have different shapes to delineate or denote what they are. Okay, so let's get the Move tool and come down here to the coordinate system below the timeline and right-click on each spinner to zero out the control curves position in X and Y space. And then let's come up here to the top, and we're going to name this CC for control curve, tail 01. And then let's switch to the front viewport, and we're going to copy this 3 times. So let's hold down Shift and move this up, and then we're going to copy it 3 times. So we have 3 more. So now we need to align all of these with the helper objects. This one needs to be aligned to the base bone here. So let's click it, and we're not going to use Alt-A this time. Let's use Shift-A, and that's Quick Align, and that is also available if you click and hold under your align tools. It's right here. That's Quick Align. But the shortcut is Shift-A. So hit Shift-A with that circle selected, and you'll see the cursor change, and click on that bone. Now this doesn't align it in rotation, just in position. Let's do the same with this one. But we're going to align this one to the helper, and this one, and this one. And now let's make each one a little bit smaller as we go up. Let's not scale them because we don't want to have scaled data in the transforms as I showed you before. So we're going to go to the Modify tab, and we're just going to decrease the radius a little bit of each one as we go up, so they get a little smaller. And let's create a layer for them. Select all of them. Come to the Layer Manager, make sure you have the layers view active, and click the plus sign. And let's name this one Control Objects, or just Controls. And then let's make the default layer active. Now what we need to do is actually make these control the bones. So to do that, we're going to link or parent this helper to this controller. We're going to do that for each one. So click the helper, and then come up here and find the Select and Link button and turn it on. And then click and drag till you see a dotted line and drop it on the object you want to link to. Do that with each one. And there's nothing to link this one to. And let's get the Rotate tool now and see if this works. So far, so good. That's okay. Okay, now we need to link all of these to each other. So we're going to start with the furthest child, turn on the link button, and link here, and here. And then we need to take this last one here and link it to the last controller. And let's test this out. Let's get the Rotate tool and test this one. Control Z to undo that. You can see that no longer behaves strangely. And let's also link this bone to that last controller. And we can see what our hierarchy looks like if we click this button right here. That brings up something called the schematic view. And you can see here that this is the geometry. This is the cylinder we have right here. And you can select things from here as well. That's the end bone. That's the fourth bone, third bone, second bone, first bone. These two things are parented to this controller. And these two things are parented to this controller. And these two things are parented to this controller, and so forth and so on. So we know that it works. But let's test this one. Let's get the rotate tool and see if it rotates like that. It should rotate everything with it. Let's also get the scale tool and see if that scales everything with it. And it does. And that's exactly what should happen. Okay, let's do one more thing. Let's select all these controllers and let's Alt, right click, and freeze their transforms. And let's do one final thing before we leave this video. Let's select all three of these and rotate them. Now, this is not exactly what we want. What we want them to do is kind of curl up like a tail. We want each one to rotate individually, not rotate them as a group. And we can change how that happens up here with this button here. Use Selection Center. That's what it says right now. The little triangle tells us there are other tools under there. So let's click and see. We want to use individual centers. Click like that. And now when we have all three of them selected, you can see they curl like we want them to. So that's very important. Click this button and change it to this one. And that is Use Pivot Point Center. It should rotate like this. Okay, so now we have a functional control rig. In the next video, we're going to attach the mesh to our bones so that when they are rotated or moved, it deforms the mesh like skin. And to do that, we use the skin modifier. And this process is called skinning, or painting vertex weights, or simply painting weights. And we'll do that in the next video. And I'll see you then.